Great question. You won't be surprised that I get that question probably every day. Let me just share with you a statistic. The market made 32 all-time highs in 2020 alone. I haven't calculated how many all-time highs it's made this year, but it just recently hit one. The market will always make an all-time high before it goes higher. When people speak that way, they are basically doing the opposite of what I just said. They are taking a short-term time horizon for the market, and they're not focusing on the long term. And they somehow believe that timing their entry into the market is something that people can do. If everybody, let's stop with the following. If what I'm saying is true, that the market's at an all-time high, and it's not a good time to invest, then my first question is, so why isn't everybody getting out? If it's not a good time to invest, it's not a good time to be there. Remember, just because your money's in the market, there's nobody putting a gun to your head and saying you must keep your money in the market. So all the gurus out there, like Warren Buffett and others, are they not aware of what you know, that the market's at an all-time high? Gee whiz, maybe you should tell them. And the answer is that they know that you never know when the market will make its all-time high and then go down, or make its all-time high and then make 31 other all-time highs as it did last year. Most people believe that you can time the market. You can time when you get in, you can time when to get out and get back in, and market timing is something that destroys investor returns. Thinking that you're smarter than the rest of the market and thinking this is a time to get out or not a time to get in is a disaster. It's a recipe for disaster. Let me share with you some statistics, okay? I'm looking at a chart which looks at $10,000 put into the S&P 500 in 1980. All right, so this is about a 40-year chart. $10,000 put in 1980 grows to $708,143 if you left it alone. It's a staggering number, okay? Now, let's say you were smarter than the market and you decided I'm gonna take my money out in really bad periods. What's interesting is that the best days in the market usually follow the worst days in the market. What happens? People sell, and then all of a sudden, the market snaps back. And you decided you're gonna stay out of the market. If you missed just the five best days during that 40-year period, instead of $708,000, you have $458,000, 36% less, just for missing 5 measly days. Let's make believe you missed the best 30 days in the market. Out of 40 years, your $10,000 grows to $135,000, or 84% less. If you miss the best 50 days in the market, your return is $62,000, or 93% less. Now, what's the lesson? The lesson is that sometimes you could be right and get out, but 99% of the time you're going to be wrong in getting back in. And if you miss those great days that follow the bad days, there were geniuses who got out of the market before the '87 crash. There were geniuses that got out of the market at the beginning of the 2008 crash. Those geniuses didn't get back into the market until it was much higher from where they started. So the answer is, it's impossible. I'll give you another interesting thought. Imagine you had a crystal ball, or you had a prophet on your payroll. And the prophet said to you, oh, gee whiz, it's January 1st of 2020. We are going to have the worst pandemic in the history of the world. And here's what's going to happen. Businesses are going to shut down. Supply chain is going to come to a halt. People are going to be hunkered in their homes. thousands, tens of thousands, millions of people are going to die. Hospitals are going to reach capacity. It's going to be the worst that most people ever experienced in their lifetime. Would you have decided to take your money out of the market? You tell me how anybody would have not taken the money out of the market knowing that on January 1st, 2020. And they would have been right for about a month. But the pandemic didn't go away, did it? But in March, the market turned around and it never looked back. But you were sitting there, sitting in cash, feeling all good about yourself because you got it right. Market sold off 32%, and I'm sitting in cash, and everybody else is losing money, and you're not. Well, guess what? You missed out on an 18% return in the market for 2020 in a year which saw the worst pandemic in the history of this country. Maybe the Spanish flu was worse. 18% returns. Who could have predicted that? Then, in 2019, to add to that, the market had gone up 31%. 2019, you saw a 31% return. January 1st, 2020, layered on top of the pandemic, the market's at an all-time high. All the geniuses were saying, 31%, that's not normal. The market must correct this year. They were wrong too. So you had an all-time high market, you had a pandemic, and somehow the market eked out an 18% return, and so far in 2021, it's on par to do the same thing. What you learn from this is, nobody has a clue what the market will do this year or next year. And the only way to invest in the market is to invest and leave it alone. If you cannot tolerate putting all your money in and potentially seeing it go down 20%, and the regret that follows, and you probably are likely to sell at the bottom, the answer is you should stage the money in. You don't have to put it all in day one. You should take a 12-month time horizon, and you should put in 1/12 at the beginning of each month. Don't look at the market, don't read the news, just put it in. By the way, that's one of the reasons why 401ks are so successful, is that they're pulling a piece of your paycheck each month. You're not looking at it. You don't even realize it's happening. It's just getting invested. And what's happening is, sometimes, my personal 401k in 2008 and 9 had an amazing return, even though the market didn't, because when the market was falling, I was adding. Had I made that decision myself, I would have never made that decision. I would have never had the guts to put money into a falling market in 2008. But all that money that I was adding through my 401k towards the bottom was up astronomically by the time 2009 came to an end. So you may want to layer it in, and many of the online websites will allow you to do that, stage in over time. But ultimately, your goal is to get fully invested as soon as possible and not think that you can outsmart the market.